Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today, we are going to be checking out this $79.99 ErGear Monitor Arm that has a pretty high weight cap. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor arm, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's get this thing unboxed. We're gonna get it set up, and we're gonna set it up with an ultrawide, and not only an ultrawide, but then also a typical monitor, like a 27-inch monitor. But let's get this unboxed. A few years ago, I also used another ErGear monitor arm, and I was overall very impressed. This one looks very similar, but it looks kind of like an updated version of that monitor arm. So let's go into it. If it's anything like the last one, it will need some assembly. So right away, we've got the top, or actually the bottom part of the monitor arm. Now right away, this is all metal right here, very high quality. You can hear that's solid metal. Then on the bottom, we have a cable management channel right here. So if you pull that, it kind of pulls out and you have a ton of space to put cables, which is really great. So then to put it back in, you just line up the bottom, squeeze the top, and there we go. Now it's a solid piece of metal. I think I unboxed this upside down, so we're gonna flip this over. All right, then in the box, we've got, looks like the different clamping mechanisms, because there are two different clamping mechanisms. If you do have a hole in your desk, you can also put this through that hole, or you can just clamp it to the desk like we're gonna do with this one. Do keep in mind, this is a really weird desk, so I am gonna show it with like the weirdest desk possible. There's a weird lip, and then there's not a super wide like metal part right here. So this is a weird desk. If it can clamp onto this one, that's probably over 3 inches, it can probably clamp to your desk. That's why I picked this one. You then have the instruction manual, which we may or may not need. It just is showing you can see the assembly right there. It looks very complicated. I don't think it's going to be. All right, here we have the top plate. This is what connects to either a 75mm, which is right here, or a 100mm VESA mount. That's on basically every monitor. It's either gonna be 75 or it's gonna be 100. This part then twists, and then you also have your tilting right there. This is a cable channel. This looks very, very similar to the last one that I reviewed a few years ago. Then here is the clamping mechanism. This is what actually goes onto your desk. Now it comes preset up for exactly that, to go on your desk and to clamp on your desk, not do the through your desk. But again, there's a bunch of different ways to attach this. And you may think, okay, that doesn't look like it'll be thick enough for the desk, and that's correct, but you can flip this around if you have a very thin desk, or you can put it down wherever you want. So it's very adjustable that way, which is nice. Then we have what looks like the top of the stand. This is what this is gonna kind of go into. You can see right there. Some hardware and some hex wrenches and stuff like that. A USB cable, because this does actually add a USB inside of this, which is cool. And then this is the gas spring, the top of your monitor arm. This is, again, very, very nice. You can listen to this. This part is a solid piece of metal. We then have a small cable channel right here, which is smaller than this one over here, but those are going to kind of connect, and they're going to kind of feed everything down that way. And then the gas spring is inside of there. Now, some people have said, how long is the gas spring going to actually last? When I used mine, I've used it for a few years. I never had any problems with it. Will these last a decade, 2 decades? Probably not, but they probably will last 4, 5, 6 years probably. But again, only time will tell, and I guess it depends on how much you're actually going to adjust your monitor arm. All right, but that's everything in the box. Let's get this thing built up. All right, guys, just finished building it. It took me 10 minutes on the dot, and that's with redoing one thing. So basically, it's incredibly easy to put together. You put one screw in here and tighten that up. You then put this one onto this one, and you tighten this little thing, and that will tighten the tension. So depending on how much tension you want, you tighten it more. If you want more, you tighten it less if you want less. Same thing down here, you attach it to this, then you attach the base plate to the actual clamping mechanism right here. It has a bunch of rubber feet, not to hurt your desk, which is fantastic. And then it also has rubber right here. Then this is just a little plastic cable channel. You put that USB-C in there, so you can plug this into your PC, your MacBook, whatever, and then you have a USB right on the port on the top, hidden away very nicely. And I'm just gonna say this right away. This is designed stupidly well. I mean, this is designed so perfectly. You have so many different adjustments. This sticker is over one of them. Well, now that looks kind of ugly, but we'll get that off later. But then right here is one of your adjustments. So you push this down, there's your adjustment screw right there. You can see negative for less, plus for more, different directions. And like I said, the way that these swivel and everything like that, these little hex screws right there. The cable management is stupid easy. If you want to take this off to put big cables in there, it's just one Phillips head. You put the cables down here, you go inside of this massive one right here, then it goes down the back right here. Everything is designed so well, so easy, it just works. This is very similar to the one that I reviewed a few years ago. and it works incredibly well. Now this one is almost exactly like the one that I reviewed a couple years ago. That one was really cheap. They have since increased the price, but before that was like, wow, how was that cheap? This is like about exactly worth what it is, but still far better than a lot of other monitor arms on the market that I've used. All right, let's put this on the desk. Now they're gonna tell you, put this piece on first and then put this on. You can do that. It probably makes it easier, but it doesn't really matter. It's very easy both ways. So all you're gonna do is pull the desk away from the wall just a little bit. That's probably enough. I'm actually gonna show you on the front of the desk just to show you how easy it is. Now again, this can go in these 3 locations depending on how thick or not thick your desk is. And then literally all you do, so we're gonna get down here, you line it up with your desk, and then you just twist this, and it's rubber coated, so it's not gonna hurt the bottom of your desk either. And even with a weird desk like this that is kind of off kilter, this isn't even on the full thing right here, that's okay, because we're gonna put this on like that, and there we go. Now that's on. Look, it's moving the desk with it, even with not even having that full piece of rubber on this very strange desk, which yours probably won't be that strange. I mean, look at this. It's moving the desk with it because it's so stable. Really incredibly well designed. Look at all that. Very, very easy. All right, now we're gonna mount it to the back, and then we're gonna mount the monitor on this. Take it off is the same process if you guys were wondering. So do that, pull it right out. Done and done. Now for this one, we're gonna mount it on the side because that's the way it looks best, I think. We might have to fine tune adjust this, but again, you saw how easy it was to put this on or off. It's not really that big of a deal. So we're gonna try it right here first. All right, with that mounted in the right place, we're basically doing that so that this can swing over. And then when it's kind of lower right here, it'll be right in the middle of the desk. Okay, now this thing has a very large weight capacity for the price of this. I think it's 26 pounds. We'll put it right here, the exact weight cap. With my experience, you can usually go a little bit over that. So if your monitor's around 28 pounds, you could probably still get away with this. However, we're gonna test all of the tilt, rotation, height, all that stuff, see how good it is with a weight cap that's near max. What we're gonna be mounting first is an ultrawide. I have this ultrawide right here that we're gonna be mounting. I don't know the exact weight. It feels fairly heavy. We'll put the weight of this panel, just the panel, not the stand, right here. So that's how much it weighs. All right, so let's go ahead and mount this. First we're gonna do, and again, this works the same as any other monitor. We're gonna remove this from its stand. You may have a different mechanism for removing it, but it's all pretty similar. All right, and then with our panel right here, we can see those are the VESA mount screws. Yours may be slightly smaller or the same size as this. It's either gonna be 100 millimeter or 75 millimeter. And again, that's just either these 4 inside holes or these outside screws. Now the way that you're gonna mount this is very easy. Get a Phillips head screwdriver, and then in the bag of hardware that it comes with, you're gonna have 4 of these screws right here. All right, so once you have these 4 screws right here, it's very, very easy to do this. What we're gonna do is first, we're gonna go to the top 2, and you're just gonna screw them in about that much. So pretty far out, but far in enough where the screws aren't gonna come out. So you can see, just like that. So get this lined up like that. And then I'm gonna try to do this so you guys can see at the same time. But we're lining this up with the top, setting it in there. It's going to stay in there if you have yours screwed in. So basically all we have to do now is we're going to put our other screws in. I told you this was easy. We're just gonna screw those in a little bit by hand. Once those screws are in, it's absolutely locked in. It can't come out. This is also one of the most stupid, easy ways to mount this. There's other ones that do clip-in styles and some of those are nice, but this one, it's just so basic, so easy. All right, and then with that, all you're gonna do is just tighten up the screws until they're tight. All right guys, and just like that, in about 12 minutes, you have your monitor arm fully built on your desk, looking amazing. Now look at that. This is at the highest mode. So this is about how high it is. I'm about 5'9", so this is about how high, probably a little bit over 5 feet if you have a normal desk height. So that is pretty cool. So if you're at standing height and I'm standing here, this is a really good height for me. So if you do wanna stand and type down here, it's workable, absolutely. All right, so now we're gonna fine tune adjust this because you do have to do that afterwards. Not a big deal, don't freak out. So the first one we're gonna test is the height, pressing this down. If it stays, it stays, that's great. What you wanna have happen is at every iteration, you want it to perfectly stay. Now this one is already perfect for this weight, which is great. But basically what's gonna happen is we'll actually do a lighter monitor right after this one, is this right here is going to adjust the gas spring. So if you put your monitor on here, and let me actually just show you, again, you'll have this hex wrench in the box. So if I loosen this, I'm gonna hold the monitor a little bit. If I loosen this, it's gonna decrease the amount of tension on the gas spring. So we'll see how that affects it just with a few turns. Still very good, but you can see right here, it'll start to kind of like droop. We can do it a little bit more to kind of give you a better idea of what it may come like for you depending on your weight. You can see right there, this is starting to fall at this point. So if I press it slightly down, you can see right there, it's falling. So if you're in that position, if maybe your monitor is too heavy, or the opposite. If it raises it up and if you press it down and it doesn't stay, all you gotta do is right here, minus or plus, just adjust that. So we're gonna do this about, let's say 3 turns. That's 1, that's 2, and that is 3. Now let's see how we do. Raising this up, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, perfect. All right, now the same adjustments go with everything. That's also tilt, which this monitor arm previously had an issue with, but I can tell you right away, with a 34-inch ultra-wide, the tilt has been completely fixed. That was my only issue with it previously, making this an incredibly good monitor. It's a little bit stiff, but I would much rather have the tilt stiff. That's usually the weak part on these monitor arms, especially the cheaper ones that aren't $250, $300 monitor arms. This is incredibly good. This fixed my only real issue with the last one. But you can see, you put it down, put it around. I mean, all of this stuff, it's incredible what you can do. This also, if you have a 16:9, you can go completely vertical, or you can go upside down if you want to. I mean, really, all of these movements have been significantly fine-tuned since the last time that I used this. We're actually gonna press this against the wall. Now, there we go, everything's nice, down, looking pretty. But we forgot one part, we're gonna cable manage this now. So I'm just gonna give you a quick idea of how you would cable manage this. So first, let's just take the power cord. We're gonna move this to the side. Find your power port, plug it in. Now, then for the first one, you are gonna need to get that Phillips head screwdriver. Unscrew this, pretty easy. If it's a smaller cable, you will be able to fit it through that, but this one is a fairly fat end. Then you're gonna take this, put it inside of this to one edge, just like that. There is still plenty of room, even for bigger cables. Stick it in there, tighten it down. All right, that's good. We're gonna pinch these two, pull that out, and you're gonna decide which way you want it to go, left or right. Because this is on the left side of the desk, I want it to go to the left. So we're gonna kind of put it like this. We're gonna kind of do that. Then all we gotta do is take this, stick it into the bottom there, pinch those two, and now we are done. All we gotta do now is there's a little cable channel back here, if you can see that. So then all we have to do is cable manage this back into there. This one's very wide, again, even for larger cables. I'm gonna kind of go under the desk and pull it. Incredibly easy. That's all cable managed into place. Now, let's put this actually where you would have it. Now you can see. What cables can you see? You can see a tiny bit right here. Just make sure your cables are black or get a cable management sleeve. Really guys, for the price, the adjustments are stupid easy. Mounting it is stupid easy. The cable management is stupid easy and it works really well. And the only problem that I had with it a few years ago was that tilt. And look at that, unbelievably. Even at this sharp angle with a 34-inch ultrawide, it just does incredibly well. But now, if you guys are wondering, okay, what if I have a 32-inch monitor, something like that, or a 27-inch, a typical monitor, how's it gonna look on this? Let's do that now. All right, here is a flat 27-inch monitor. This is pretty typical, probably your most common screen size. Again, it can fit 34-inch ultrawides. It's gonna say up to 32 inches. That's for 16:9. This can absolutely fit 34-inch ultrawides. All right, before we put this one on there, let's take the ultrawide off. So we're gonna unplug the cable. Again, just unscrew the screws, unscrew the bottom ones first, then unscrew the top ones, not completely, but just a little bit. You just want it so they're not tight and there's a little bit of room. Once it's like that, I probably should have done it a little bit more, but I think we'll be okay. Then lift straight up. That's it, guys. Incredibly easy. It seems like it might be hard. It's not. It's stupid easy. It's the best way to mount it. You don't use any gimmicky stuff that could probably break. No, this just uses screws. Then all you gotta do is take these screws off. Once those are off, again, get your panel off of its stand, whether that's one of those quick releases like these, or that's just screws. Now, here's actually a really good example. This plastic actually comes much farther forward than the other one. So when it's screwed in just a little bit, it's very deep in there. So this is going to be a little bit of a harder monitor to mount. So you can see that screw is barely in there. If I do it one twist, it's out. Okay, so this monitor definitely is a harder one to mount. So the best way to do this, I think, is gonna be, we're gonna take this, push it straight up like that, and then we're just gonna lay this one on there. That's probably the best way to mount this one because it's a little bit finicky. Okay, so the problem that we're really facing here is that these screws are not long enough. We're not even getting into those holes really. Now, these do come with longer screws. They come with much longer screws, and then we're gonna use those. Not sure if this is exactly what this is used for. Comment below if you do know what these are used for, but we're gonna use these because they look like they'll work. So we're gonna take this, stick them up in there. There we go, works great. All right, then that one is all mounted. Now that's not the same power cable, obviously, but it'll give you an idea what it'll look with a 27-inch monitor. Perfect example right here. So if you do have a 27-inch monitor, it does this, it'll go right back up. Be careful because it's fairly aggressive with that. So we're gonna swing this over here, and again, we're gonna adjust it. So the adjustment will be fairly high, especially if you have a lighter monitor like this, it'll probably be all the way up. So you're gonna take your hand right here, you're gonna press down, and if you press down below this, it gets very easy. I'm barely putting any weight on it. Then we're gonna decrease the amount this way. So go towards that decrease. We're gonna do this probably 3 or 4 turns. This one is pretty light for this monitor arm, which is totally fine. All right, so there, about 4 turns I think. Hasn't moved yet, we'll see coming up. I could probably do it a little bit less. I'm thinking 2 more turns, but again, see how easy that is. There we go, now let's come up a little bit. Oh, absolutely perfect. Now that's all still great. That is a little bit more difficult. We can also adjust that from the side. I don't really want to because that still works great. Now this thing is incredibly solid. I mean, look at this thing. Now, if it's on your desk like this, watch how close it can get to your desk. This can go almost all the way on your desk. If you have a 32-inch monitor, it'll go all the way on your desk, but literally that close. That is so cool. We can also see here the cable management with a 27-inch, incredibly well hidden. All right, so guys, overall, do I think this monitor arm is worth it? Yes, this is incredibly similar to the one I reviewed a few years ago. It's a great price, and right now I think there's 20% off with a coupon. Not my coupon, but just one on Amazon. It fixed the only issue that I had a few years ago, which was that tilt with bigger monitors, and you can fit a 34-inch ultrawide on it and still have great tilt. This overall is a great monitor arm. I've had a ton of experience with their previous generation, and this one just got that much better. Again, if you want to check out this exact same monitor arm, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But yeah, overall, A+. This thing is great. It's a fantastic package, easy to mount, easy to build, looks great, functions well. So far, it's been incredibly reliable for me. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.